Reform UK done extremely well at the last set of elections, and they mainly discuss things which are in the public eye at the moment, like migration, etc. Now, they're being attacked at the moment for their future election plans, and both Labour and the Tories are, of course, dismissing the capabilities of Reform UK in managing the economy. They're attempting to level the criticism at Reform UK that essentially they don't understand a lot. They're just making a lot of pie crust promises here to draw people in. And, they're using the immigration crisis or emergency in order to fuel interest in Reform UK. Now, there's a very, very interesting discussion here between Richard Tice and Adam Bolton, in which Adam Bolton attempts to level all of these kind of economic criticisms at Richard Tice, and he essentially gets mauled.
You can't support any proposal that leads to immigration, legal immigration, rising to over 500,000 people a year, which is basically the nature of the current proposal. I mean, and that was revealed in the Times yesterday. Our policy is to have net zero immigration. We've got a record population in this country. Right. We're not short of people. What we're short of is making work pay, so that we get our own people trained up, skilled up, and motivated to go into work rather than to be trapped on the benefits.
But the policy,
that's the reality of what's happening.
The government's policy aims to cut the levels of immigration, doesn't go to net zero, accept that. But, if you're in favour of keeping immigration down, shouldn't you support it?
No, because I think, the British people are sick and tired of words and waffle from the two main parties. The Tories had their chance. The Tories won't even put a number on their immigration, nor will the Labour Party. But I just repeat the point. The government's own quangos are forecasting that legal immigration will settle at over 500,000 a year, and that will suppress wages. It'll put unacceptable pressure on housing and healthcare, and it's got to stop. And that's why we're doing so well in the polls.
Okay. You, of course, as an opposition party, now going into local government to a certain extent, you also have the ability to come up with words. Just on your pledges on the last election, are you now still supporting the idea of increasing the income tax threshold to £20,000?
Absolutely, that's a critical part of our economic policy. That's how you make work pay.
Okay, and the higher threshold will go up to 70,000.
Yeah, you've got to make work pay at all levels.
You'd abolish inheritance tax.
Yeah, absolutely. We've said that, and these are the reasons why when people look at our contracts,
you'd reduce corporation tax. Yeah.
And here's the point. All of those things we stand by. Of course, what we don't know is where the economy and the state of our country's finances are going to be in 3 or 4 years' time. I'm very concerned about that. But we've got to get the economy growing again. We can't keep spending more than we're earning.
But you're also saying you're going to spend £35 billion more on the NHS, on defence.
No, hang on, Adam, that's not what. No, we said on the NHS it was 17, and we set out how we were going to save money. And it seems to me those who are very concerned by how well we're doing, they don't look at how we save money by scrapping net stupid zero. That's give or take.
Well, hang on. Economists who've looked at that basically say there would be, if Nigel Farage gets in Downing Street, as he was like, there would be a £100 billion hole in public finances. Which would be Liz Truss on steroids, wouldn't it?
And they've all been found to be completely wrong.
Well, they haven't been found because it hasn't happened.
Adam, if you're going to ask me a question, let me answer. Otherwise, there's no point in the interview.
I am letting you answer. I'm just saying it hasn't been proven to be wrong because it hasn't happened yet.
Adam, there's just no point having an interview if you don't let me answer. Right, thank you. So on quantitative easing, most economists now agree that Tice was right. We could save tens of billions by not voluntarily paying interest on the Bank of England reserves. On saving wasteful spending, Darren Jones wrote to every department saying you've got to save £5 and 100. Guess what our election contract said? You've got to save £5 and 100. And the Committee on Climate Change has agreed with me that the public sector needs to spend tens of billions to get to net stupid zero. Again, we can save that. If you do these things, you save over £100 billion. And yes, people don't like it because we're doing well. People don't like it because someone like me, who's been around the block, who's run a multi-billion-pound multinational business, who tripled the share price in 4 years, I know how to run things. I know how to make money for my stakeholders. Right. Now I'm more qualified than anybody else on the front two benches.
And here, perfectly embodied, you see the problem that the authorities at large, the liberal media and the uni party at the moment, this is the problem that they have with Reform UK. Not only are Reform UK on the side of all the big issues today within the public domain, things such as migration, small boats, and all of that whole ball of wax, but aside from that, on the economy. Now, traditionally, it's always been the Tories that were good at managing the economy, and Labour's always been a tax and spend type of a party. And what this liberal media establishment, which is, the perfect caricature of that, is Mr. Adam Bolton, what they're going to attempt to do is aim these criticisms direct into Reform UK, as if to say, okay, you're a populist party, but all of these things on your manifesto, they're not going to really add up, are they? And what they are going to find in quite short order is that the liberal media and the uni party have absolutely no clue whatsoever how to manage the economy. That's why we're in the mess that we're in. The only evidence that you need to see that these parties are unable to come up with anything credible, just look at Rachel Reeves. I mean, Jeremy Hunt. You could go further back. I mean, the best economist in our past in the UK was quite a while ago, and the really serious thinkers, people like Nigel Lawson, etc., from the 20th century, they're long gone. Most of the chancellors that we've had don't understand anything about how to run an economy. And then you've got somebody like Richard Tice, Zia Youssef, Nigel Farage. All of these people have been around money all their life, and this is a criticism that's levelled at them, but it's also a positive. Nigel Farage understands the City of London. Zia Youssef and Richard Tice both know how to count very well. They've both run billion-pound businesses. Richard Tice understands business exceptionally well, and when he talks, you can see him now coming more into how he's going to be positioning himself over the next few years. Adam Bolton attempted there to stifle his chat a little bit, to needle him a little bit, and what you're starting to see there is Richard Tice biting back and saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nobody's even looking at the Bank of England and how they're juicing this country for tens of billions of pounds every year with their quantitative easing scam. Net zero is costing tens of billions a year. We need to be bringing people off unemployment benefit. And how do you do that? You increase the tax threshold. How do you do that? You increase the middle class tax threshold up to 70,000. This is really straightforward. You want to make growth in an economy? You reduce taxes. You increase thresholds for working people before they pay tax. And guess what happens? More people work because they've got nothing to lose then. They're actually losing money staying on benefits. And this is how you encourage people back into work. And this is why Reform UK are so dangerous to the liberal establishment. They don't know how to cope with Richard Tice because he's extremely knowledgeable. As he said in that clip there, he knows way more about business and economy than the front two benches put together. And when he said that, he was being correct. They know nothing. They've got no clue. All of these so-called economists. Malstride does have an idea. I will give him that from the Tories. And, the Shadow Chancellor does understand markets. And if you listen to him talk, he is an intelligent chap and he does know what he's talking about. But his ideas are from the 20th century. They're stuck in the bygone age of the Tory party. They're not 21st century ideas that work in a modern globalised environment. And Richard Tice understands the economy. And I think what he demonstrated there was precisely the reason why these two main parties need to be running scared from Reform at the moment, because Reform have the answers on the economy and a lot of the cultural stuff that's going on here, as well as, you know, the deportation and small boats issue. And so all of these things put together, we're going to start to see more of this, and they're going to have to find a way to attack the Reform Party. But as you can see here, they're struggling quite a bit. And isn't it nice to see? We need this uni-party smashed into little pieces, and we need a progressive parliamentary system that works for the people, not for the elites. Anyway, thanks very much for your time.